Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Mike with My Core Intentions, and we are Thursday morning live here today. I am broadcasting from the comfort of my home office and looking forward to today's show. I know that it is going to be interesting. I have a longtime friend who's joining me, Howard Leventhal. And if for anybody out there who knows Howard, you know we're going to have a bunch of laughs this morning. We're going to probably wind up in some rabbit hole. Howard's trying to claw his way back out. So good longtime friend. Howard has a company called Waveys LLC. And what he is he's a company that develops technology for the U.S. Air Force. You know what? That's just even more of a mouthful than I can say, but I'll let Howard talk about that. Before we get started, make sure you go tell somebody that we're live, stick a cup of coffee in their hand, let them know that this will be a scrappy morning here and that you probably get some good entrepreneurial input. One thing I know about Howard is he is a great entrepreneur, knows a lot, and has developed a lot of programs and processes over the years. So I'm excited to bring him on. A couple things I'd just like to chat about real quick is coming up in March. My Core Intentions is doing its first of 3 boot camps this year. It'll be Understanding Multifamily. So whether you're a brand new multifamily investor coming into the business or scaling up from the single family business, it's an event you won't want to miss. This one is free, online, virtual, but it'll be a full 6 or 7 hours. So make sure that you join us for that. You can go to my website and register right now if you want. So let me bring Howard in and let's get this show started. Howard, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How have you been, man? It's been a while. We jumped on early this morning. I said, man, it's been a long time since we've seen each other.
Yeah, well, since the last time we saw each other, I moved up here to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where the brand new battery in my car has been frozen 4 or 5 times this month. So it's an interesting place to live.
You should build a garage, Howard.
The tree fell on the garage. I'm waiting for the springtime to build another one.
Okay. Well, there you have it. So Howard, listen, here's one question I like to always ask my guests on all my shows is one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
Committed. And I don't mean to a mental institution. I mean, when I decide I'm going to do something after careful consideration, it pretty much takes nuclear weapons to take me off of it.
And, so let me ask you this. What are you committed to right now today?
Well, my company is developing a new technology system to make it easier for pilots of remotely piloted aircraft, commonly known as drones, to make it easier for those pilots to feel like they're in the situation. I don't know if you've ever seen, most people have seen movies where 2 guys sitting in a darkened room in Nevada somewhere are controlling a military drone 5,000 or 10 whatever miles away. They're deprived of the sensory inputs that pilots inside of a normal airplane have. They can't feel the centrifugal force. They can't really look out the window. They can't hear the wind rushing by. So the system that I'm in the process of developing with folks at UC San Diego is designed to raise the level of situational awareness and of such pilots and provide them with the feeling that pilots have normally have when they're piloting an airplane and sitting inside of it.
It's interesting, here, Howard, you like me have been an entrepreneur for years, right?
Yes.
And, it's funny. What do you think some of the biggest changes over the years have been that have helped you grow your business from where it once was to where you're at today?
Probably the biggest, the technological tools. I'm a technologist. I was the prototypical techno geek, antisocial, sitting in a basement guy since I was 8 years old. Yeah. And, for a long time, that was just like an impediment to being a normal person, which may overstate what I might be. But you can these days you can run a company and perform the jobs of 10 people by using the internet and technological tools. And I would have a heck of a time doing the things I do without the technological tools that I use. If I had to sit down with a pencil and a piece of paper and draw out the things I've designed, it would take me 1,000 years. So it's the technological tools and the ability to, communicate instantly and have a web conference, like we're having now. Without these things, it'd be 100 times more difficult.
Yeah, boy, it's interesting, right? I mean, I remember the first time I got on one of these video platforms, and it was like, man, the technology. I remember years ago growing up thinking, when people would say, hey, one of these days you're going to be able to talk to somebody on the telephone and look at them. I don't know that anybody really ever believed that back then, except just those people who were on that mission, right? But technology today is just so vast and just helps so much.
The first forecast of what you just said was first written, I just read an article lately, in 1919, being able to, look at people while you're talking to them on the telephone. And,
really?
It took quite a long time for it to come into reality, but it's here now, that's for sure.
How about the Jetsons? Is any of that going to come true?
It's interesting. Uber began an initiative to build remotely operated autonomous flying taxis so that they could make money someday without having to pay drivers. And while Uber failed at this completely, what they have done is stimulated hundreds and hundreds of new groups and companies to start working on that very thing. Now, the vast majority of these companies are in total dreamland. They have I'm a licensed pilot, and I have, I work with people with doctorates in engineering and so forth. And, we're aware of what it takes to do this, but these people don't. What they have is some, kid sitting with Adobe Photoshop and a 3D illustration program who draws a pretty, thing that would look great in a sci-fi movie, but they're a long way from working. They're a long way from working safely. That's for sure. There's a company, a newly public company called Joby, Joby, that Joby Aviation, that just went public in the last year, and their stock fell off a cliff, not because they're bad or because they're frauds or anything else like that, but they just simply haven't taken the time to do the physics and engineering required to make these things work. So it's coming. I think, in fact, I've written articles on this, maybe 10 years, 15 or 20 years before you can do it safely.
Well, it's interesting, how technology continues to just drive everything forward, and you think about some of those things like the Jetsons, right? And those cartoons where it was kind of like funny, wow, flying cars, look at that. And look, conveyor belts in your house, and just yell from the refrigerator and something comes flying across the room to you. People actually work on this stuff, and it's amazing. So when you look at here's what I'd like to know. You obviously study a lot technology. You study other companies. Who are who are the leaders in the marketplace today that you really follow, that motivate you, that you say, wow, there's some bright ideas?
Well, that's an interesting question. There are a lot of companies that characterize themselves as being technology companies, but they're really not. But they're capitalists and marketers, and this doesn't really dilute their message. But for example, Dell Computer. What does Dell Computer really do? It takes technology from a lot of different places and packages them and puts their name on it and provides customer support. They're not really a technology company, which is, I'm not saying they're bad. They do a good job. They make computers that are affordable, and they figure out how to make them available by providing innovative financing, and that's all good. But they're not a technology company, really. Technology companies that I would admire are people like, say whatever you want about the people at the top. Microsoft is a technology leader and always has been. Google is a technology leader and always has been. Facebook, I don't know. Facebook fundamentally is, a gossip newspaper. I haven't seen them really lead anything in technology other than figuring out how to pry money out of people. And so, which you really have to look for if you want a tangible measuring stick. Look up the patent issuances for an individual company. And if they have 20, 50, 100 patent issuances, then they're a technology leader. And if they don't, they're just a bag of wind.
So, there's so much out there though, but what really inspires you? So, because I've watched you really build some things over the years and really design some different systems and processes. And what inspires you to do that?
I have to say, I have, first of all, I have many faults, and you know some of them. But what I do well is I can connect the dots between pieces that exist today that are clear to me, can be connected in new and innovative ways in the future. That is my principal value, the way that I've earned a living for most of my adult life. And it goes way back to, I don't know, how much time do we have? My first company, I figured out how to turn a standard automotive tire valve into a durable, super durable joystick for the Atari game that lasted for millions and millions and millions of uses. And I just looked at the tire valve and I sort of saw what it could do as a video game joystick. And I don't know that I'm very smart. I'm terrible at math for someone who's really in engineering and programming. That's unusual. But I do see these connections. However they pop into my head, I really can't describe it. But that's what I've been good at over the years. That's what enabled me to make money.
You are you writing a book on any of your entrepreneurial thoughts or processes, anything like that? Have you thought about doing that at all?
Well, I've written a few books, and if you're going to do it and complete it, it is a fully immersive thing. When I wrote I wrote a couple books that relate to people in my life, and at the end of the day, there's nothing else I could do other than eat and lay down and go to sleep. So you have to have the time for it, and I don't have the time for it. I'm going to be busy with this Air Force thing for a couple of years, but maybe when I'm done, I'll do that. People, a topic that is of interest to me is that a lot of people think that they cannot be an entrepreneur, they cannot go into business, and then they make up 30 reasons why they can't do it. And all of these reasons are self-imposed reasons. They don't have the passion for it. They don't have the time for it. They're not willing to take the risk for it. And really, almost everybody has some interest. Like you. I mean, you have an interest in doing what you do with real estate. It turns you on. I've seen that over the time I've known you. And there's almost every person of average intelligence has something that turns them on. Maybe it's making potholders or embroidering stuff on a jacket. I mean, you can make money from it because, people are willing to pay for something that they want and can't do themselves. It's that simple. It's that simple. All that happens, the only variables remaining are how much money can you make and over what period of time. But you can commit yourself to something that you love, and you can make money for that. And this applies to 95% of everybody.
Yeah, for years and years, I used to just think that businesses were like franchises or your construction company that somebody opened up. But I learned over time, and specifically back in like 2008, 2010, I owned a bunch of apartments in the Ohio Valley, and there were so many businesses that supplied parts for the car manufacturing business. It was eye-opening to me, right? So they made like the knobs for the radios, and they made the dashboard pieces and different things like that, seat liners. There was a company that we learned about that made the beading for the leather seats in a car, and that's all they made. So businesses can, like you said, potholders and whatever, businesses can really take on a life of their own, especially if somebody's passionate about it. I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there today, or in air quotes, right, that said entrepreneurs that aren't willing to put the time and the effort in. They get 6 months down the road and they quit. And I don't think you can quit. And it's that continual grind, that hustle every day, that those buzzwords that are so big in the world today, but they're actually the things that you really got to take part in your life. So
no, that's absolutely. Are we running out of time?
No, you're good, man.
No, that's probably it's the number one or number two thing in terms of business success. When a bank lends money for a business, and they get the entrepreneur to pledge the title to his house, it is not because that bank ever wants to repossess the borrower's house. It is because what they want is the man or woman to get out of bed in the morning and remember that they had better commit themselves to their business today, and if they don't, they stand the chance of losing their house. There may be some bankers out there that are vultures and try to steal people's houses, tiny single-digit fraction. But the reason they do it is so that keep people committed to what they're doing. You can never succeed at anything, no matter how great it is, no matter how great an idea it is, without being focused on it in digestible portions and committed to it in such a way that you can have somebody beating on your head with a baseball bat and you're still committed to it.
Yeah.
And that is how people succeed. If you look at a guy like Elon Musk, who's eccentric and everything else he is, among his unique characteristics is he couldn't care less if you say to him he's not able to do that, or you can't do this because he just does it anyway. He doesn't care. When he and other guys started PayPal, well, you're going to be a bank, you can't do that. There's blah blah blah, and then they made $1 billion.
Yeah, look at the four of them today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the people just make up limitations. They don't. If they stand up, their back is going to hurt. I mean, you have to. If you expect to succeed, you have to dive into whatever the endeavor might be. Whether you're in college or you're learning a new skill or being an entrepreneur, you have to commit to it and focus on it, and then you stand as much chance of succeeding as anybody ever did.
One of my favorite leaders, and I have a few, but one of my favorite leaders has always been Steve Jobs, right? And like him or love him, or like him or hate him, he's really said some good things and really done some things for the world. But I love the quote where he says, the rebels and the people that are the round peg going in the square hole, trying to change the world, the crazy ones, the misfits.
Here's to the crazy ones.
here's to the crazy ones. And, that's Howard, that's guys like you and I, I mean,
Well, there are quite a few people that would agree to that one.
listen, Howard, shit, we're crazy. There's no doubt about that. So,
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the twists and turns in our life, we wouldn't be where we are today. And today's a good place. So, hey, listen, thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Any last parting thoughts? Let me put your contact information up here in case some of our friends might want to reach out to you.
The second character there is an L like a Lincoln in my email address. I find your dream and go for it. That's my parting thought. You want to succeed. You want to be happy. I couldn't care less about money. Money means nothing to me. Making my people that I love happy, that's what makes me tick. And you need some resources to do that. And find your dream, find your passion, and go for it and focus on it.
Yeah. It is truly about the art of the deal, though, isn't it? And blessing other people.
Well, I mean, blessing other people. Yeah. I mean, that in my case, the only thing I've ever really been motivated by is taking care of people that I care about. Other than having a roof over my head and, flying an airplane, somebody else's airplane once in a while, I couldn't care less about, things really for myself. So that's what really family and those you love are the things to focus on.
Absolutely. Hey, Howard, it's been great this morning. I'm going to put you back in your green room. You hang out backstage with me for a minute?
Sure.
All right, perfect. I'm going to say goodbye. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here today. And that was my morning with Howard Leventhal. And if you know Howard or don't know Howard, reach out to him. He's worth having a conversation with. He's one, really smart guy, that's for sure. And a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. And just where he's going with the technology he's developed today to help the U.S. Air Force. So, hey, I am glad to be here. Remember, if you are looking for a multifamily event this year, reach out, go to my website, sign up for an event coming up third week in March. It'll be Thursday, the 24th, I believe, all day. It'll be a 7-hour event. We're going to talk about multifamily acquisitions. So whether you are brand new getting in the multifamily business or you've been in the business for a while or you're scaling from the residential side, it's an event you won't want to miss. Number of things going on that will bring some excitement and levity to the space. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. Remember, we're here every Thursday morning at 8:30 Central Time. Look forward to seeing you next week again. Have a great week, everybody.